Hey, y'all, and welcome to the Currency of Visibility podcast. This is the show that teaches you how to turn your credibility into cash. I'm your host, Carolee Moore, founder of the Podcast Pitching Society, where we help experts who feel hidden get found, chosen, and paid using strategic storytelling on other people's podcasts. Each week, me and a few of my expert guests will give you proven strategies, tools, and the straight talk you need to grow visibility that actually pays you back. Let's get into it. Okay, y'all. So I'm excited because today I have my first interview guest, and her name is Bianca B. King, President and Creative Director of 7573 Marketing Group, and she's also the CEO and founder of Pretty Damn Ambitious. Since 2008, her agency has helped clients generate, get this, over $280 million in revenue. She launched her agency during the Great Recession with just $700, which she used to buy a laptop and a round-trip plane ticket to Austin. Talk about gangster. Where she secured her first contract. Across her career, though, including corporate commercial real estate, Bianca has been a part of 1.6 billion with a B in transactions. She's been featured in Essence and Jet, quoted in Black Enterprise, and is a contributing writer for Forbes, Entrepreneur, Success Magazine, and Fast Company. She has also, because of her heart for people, served on many different nonprofit boards for over a decade. Please help me welcome Mrs. Bianca B. King. So welcome to the Currency of Visibility podcast, Bianca.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here. As we both know, we have been working towards this for almost 6 months. So it's great to finally be sitting down with you to get this done.
I would say that we've taken it offline, but technically we've only taken it off LinkedIn because we still have not been able to sit down in person. And we live probably 20, 30 minutes away from each other.
We're absolutely going to make that happen, though. I have no doubt.
It's all good. Okay. So yes, I've already bragged on you and read your bio, right? But I want to give you the opportunity to actually introduce yourself to our audience. Why don't you give us a little bit more about who you are and your journey on visibility and all the things?
Yeah. So I am Bianca B. King, and I put the B in there because Bianca King is this gorgeous Filipino actress if you Google her. And so to make sure that I'm differentiated, I always make sure that that B is in there. Yeah. So I feel like I call myself an ambition architect. I really, really want women to understand that ambition is not a dirty word and that we have every right in every way to redefine ambition and success on our terms. I started a very long time ago, back in the 90s, worked for commercial real estate for over a decade, and then decided at the age of 32, back in 2008, to start my marketing agency, which is 7573 Marketing Group. And that's it.
So first of all, I want to say you look like you're still like a good early 30s, like right now. So I think that's incredible. And second, I've been wanting to know, and I couldn't find it anywhere online, the background behind like why the name for your agency. Why that? Before we dive into all the things, I'm curious why you named it that.
Well, first, thank you to saying that I look 30. I turned 50 last month.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. To still look all right.
More than all right.
7573 Marketing Group. I was thinking about what's the best way to brand myself. One, I love numbers. And two, I was thinking, I don't want it to be King Media or something really generic. I want something that people will ask questions about. So 75 was the year that I was born, and 73 was the year my husband was born. He is my partner. He is my silent partner. He actually owns part of my agency as well.
I'm glad I asked that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. So let's dive right into it, okay? Because listen, you've already heard the introduction. You know that this is a serious business owner right now, and she has a lot of game, a lot of gems. I've learned so much just by sitting down with her. And so selfishly, I wanted to keep her to myself, but here we are. I'm going to share her with you guys, but I really want to kind of dig into your story. You talk a lot about your starting point from like going from corporate into your entrepreneurial journey and how you started with $700, a laptop and a plane ticket. Now, most people at that moment would see limitation. You saw launch, right? Walk me through the internal conversation you had with yourself when you made that investment? What did you know about yourself then that made you risk,
Yeah.
feeling less like gambling on what is more likely like, okay, this is my future?
Yeah, for sure. So it was actually just $700 that I used to buy the laptop and the plane ticket. That was my initial investment in.
Wow.
And I landed my first five-figure contract after I touched down in Austin a few hours after I touched down in Austin. So the gamble, I was tired of being in corporate. I was sick and tired of, unfortunately, being, what's the best word for it? A prop. I did all the things. I literally rose
Mm.
up the ranks. I started as an administrative assistant, moved into a financial analyst position, and then ultimately was a brokerage associate. On the team that I work with, we closed over $1.4 billion worth of assets. I was employee of the year twice. I won deal of the year. I did all the things right. And yet I still wasn't good enough to be in some of those rooms. At least that's what made
Mm.
me feel and portrayed and so forth. Right. And with the blessing of my husband, and we were only 7 months into our marriage, he was like, quit, start your own company. And so between all of that, I took that gamble and I was like, yeah, I can do this. But I think part of the reason why I wasn't so too risk averse or too bold. One, I was absolutely naive about what it takes to actually build and run a successful business. And two, I left home when I was 13.
Mm.
And that was the biggest gamble of them all, leaving home at 13. So going into this new career, if you will, from commercial real estate into building my agency, to me, it almost felt like a no-brainer. It's like I felt like I had to try.
First of all, I want to dig into that because I do believe there is a connection between the folks that eventually become entrepreneurs and take that leap, and it is a leap, to something happening in your childhood. Whether you were the kid that everyone said like talk too much, right? You were always a leader. There was something that happened or things that happen in our childhood that shape us and how we view the world and
For sure.
often leads to us in our adulthood on paths where it's either, hey, I've been told a lot that I don't fit in any box. And so therefore, I'm just going to create my own box. I've
Right.
been told this entire time, even though I'm doing all the work, I'm doing all the things, I'm winning all these awards, that I'm not good enough for, executive leadership or whatever the case is. I want to know if you had to go back and tell that young woman a few things about what would happen after she took that leap. Like, what would you go back and tell yourself? You said you were naive. I think we all
Yeah.
are when we start entrepreneurship. This is going to be
Absolutely.
fantastic. Okay. And then you get like literally smacked
Yeah.
with a brick wall. What would you go back and tell that version of
Yeah.
you now that
Yeah.
you know kind of how the story plays out?
Yeah. First and foremost, I would say, buckle up, baby. Next, I would tell her to really believe in herself. I
Mm.
absolutely took that leap, but then I had a whole lot of vacillation on, am I good enough? Can I do this? A lot of imposter syndrome, well, I would say even very early on, probably in the first 8 years of the business. Can I do this? Am I doing the right thing? Will these clients actually get the value that I'm trying to give them? All those things, right? Not understanding how powerful and great my services were given all my background, right? Still was very unsure of myself. And the last thing I would say is honestly, become visible sooner.
Mm.
I spent a good over a decade just in the background, right? I'm an introvert, even though people don't believe me. And I don't necessarily like being in front of the camera, speaking on stages, any of that stuff, right? But I have seen what visibility can really do for not only your personal brand, but like your business, right? So those are things I would absolutely tell myself, like, don't be afraid, get rid of the imposter syndrome as soon as you can. Not you get rid of it, but calm it down and find a path to strategic visibility.
So, first of all, thank you for bringing up my next question. And I completely agree with you, but you've built the pretty damn ambitious, I would say, movement around reshaping the narrative of ambition for women. But
Right.
here's what I'm curious about. You've
Yeah.
generated over $280 million for your clients. You're in Forbes. You're featured in major publications. At what point did you realize that visibility that you were getting wasn't actually translating to the kind of influence or income that you wanted? And what did you have to unlearn about what making it was supposed to look like?
Yeah. The first time I did become visible, if you will, it led to a massive amount of income. So this is
Mhm.
not something that's in my bio, but back in 2010, I was featured in Jet magazine.
Nice.
And that actually helped my business grow exponentially. More clients came in, just everything, right?
Hmm.
But I feel like I didn't leverage that opportunity as well as I could. Like I could have leveraged it into more press and so forth, but I was so busy, like, oh my God, let me just put my head down and work because now I have all this business, right? So yeah. What was the second part of the question? Sorry.
What did you have to unlearn about making it, or what making it was supposed to look like,
Yeah,
to actually, like you said, leverage visibility in a much more intentional way? Because
yeah.
I do think you actually hit on a really good point.
Mhm.
Visibility is not in and of itself just going to get you what you want, right? You
Yeah,
got some clients, but imagine if it was an intentional, okay, I'm going to leverage this for more. It could have
exactly.
been incredible. So I just kind of want to help, I guess, our listeners as they're thinking through what they will need to know or unlearn in order
Yeah,
to leverage visibility in a more intentional way.
yeah.
Like, what did you have to unlearn?
Yeah, unlearning part would be you need to leverage visibility. Don't just let that one piece of content or that one piece of media just happen, right? Because I feel like most of us think like I got the press, then okay, now I'm good. There's
Mm-hmm.
so much more to it. Like you almost need to have this, not almost, you need to have a content leveraging machine, if you will, to really understand how you're going to strategically use that visibility to impact not only your visibility but your income, right?
Yeah.
That also obviously can make sure that your influence grows. So if your influence and your income is growing, then you're doing the right thing. But most of us, we're happy, we have it, and that's it, because no one has taught us the power of leveraging that visibility or that moment in the media.
I mean, that hits home for me for a lot of different reasons. I think a lot of times the reason why people think visibility and the efforts around it are nice to have is because typically the end that they're thinking of is like I got in a magazine, the
Yeah,
end. And that's really just the beginning. So I love
right.
that you're putting a period on that as well. Now, okay, here's the thing that I love about your background and why I was like obsessed with you, frankly, on LinkedIn. Guys, I stalked her, is because your career is not linear. And it kind of reminds me of a lot of people who they started somewhere and then decided, hey, whatever my end goal was has shifted and now I'm over here. And okay, that's not enough. Okay, I'm over here. And we get told we're a lot. And you've just leaned into that, which I love. So not only have you built a incredibly successful marketing agency and have done incredible work, you also are in real estate and you've sold over 1.4 billion, what a B, in real estate assets as part of Cushman and Wakefield before starting your agency.
Right.
That's not a typical path to digital marketing and women's empowerment and all the things. What did moving billions, again with a B, in
Right.
commercial real estate teach you about moving people, right? About persuasion, positioning, and what actually makes people say yes? What did you transfer from that work into
Mhm.
what you do now?
Behind all of the dollars, behind all the assets, the buildings, all of that are people.
Mm,
People want genuine connection and genuine relationships. And if you're able to really build those relationships, that's how billions of dollars move.
I think that is very important. And I would love for you to expound on your philosophy when it
Yeah.
comes to sales, when it comes to the handling of people.
Hmm.
Because I do think, and this goes back to visibility as well and leveraging it, because let's think about podcasting. A lot of people come on a podcast and it's like, yeah, this is the opportunity. I'm on the podcast. And then they might make content or whatever the case is, completely missing the part where they could build relationships with the podcast
Yes.
hosts.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
forget the people part. So
Yes.
I'm curious for you as far as your right, as far as your experience has been
Mhm.
and kind of leveraging your relationships, your networks, all the things to build the multiple successful endeavors that you've had. What has been your ethos as it relates to building relationships and leveraging visibility to be where you are right now?
Yeah, I've always been people first. And I had an amazing mentor when I was in commercial real estate. Shout out to you, Andrea, if you listen to this one. She helped me understand the power of relationships. People
Mm,
want to be seen, right? People want to be heard. People want to be known that they're listened to. So if you're able to really understand that, you can literally move mountains, right? So with that, and it's not about you getting something from someone else. It's really about you leaning in and being curious about how you can help, how you can really, from lack of a better word, serve that person. And
mhm,
typically, when that happens, there's this beautiful thing called reciprocity. Then they'll think of you for a networking
mhm.
opportunity or a client that may need a service that you have, or whatever the case may be. So it's always people first from my perspective.
Yeah, I love that. There's a book, it's one of my favorites, and I'm blanking on the author, but it's called The Go-Giver.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main things that you get from that book
Yeah.
is really the person who is constantly, it's either the connector, it's the person who's constantly trying, like asking, hey, how can I help you? How can I
Yeah.
be of service to you? That's the person that when someone else is meeting other people, they're like, oh, you need to meet so and so, the go giver.
Yeah.
They're always going to be top of mind because they're always looking for ways to serve people. And I think we forget that in our own selfish ambition at
Yeah.
times, where it's like, it's about you. If you're listening to this and you're a service-based provider, I think that's one of the biggest things that you can learn from anything we're talking about right now is you are a service provider. Be of service.
Yes.
People should be at the like core of what you're doing. So I love that. Thank you for kind of just bringing that home. Now, you've been doing this since 2008, even though
Yeah.
you look like you're younger than me, but it's fine. You've seen a lot of things shift and change, algorithms, platforms rising and falling. I mean, Clubhouse. Most
When
entrepreneurs,
we all wanted the invite to get in
oh my
Clubhouse. Yeah.
gosh.
That's so fun.
I was in there for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is overwhelming. You said you're an introvert, so am I.
Yeah.
And that felt like an introvert's nightmare in a lot
It
of ways.
was.
Like, this is a lot. This is too
Uh,
much. I can't. But anyways, I digress per usual. But most entrepreneurs are kind of chasing viral moments at this point because we are all obsessed with social media. And I always argue that experts are trying to market their business like they're influencers at this point. And you've built something that has sustained and not only sustained like this, but has grown for a really long time. So there are some quote unquote unsexy things about building not only visibility, but visibility that pays. And I want for you to kind of talk through some of the things that you have done to ensure long-term stability in your business, but specifically around the things that you've done to elevate your visibility. Um, Obviously, you've been in Forbes. There are tons of things that I've like outwardly done. I'm interested in the things that you had to do behind the scenes, whether it was a mindset shift, whatever it is. Like, I would love for you to walk us through some of the things that you think were key to that.
so first and foremost, integrity. You really need to show up the way you say you're going to show up. Make sure that you are doing the things that you say you're going to do in your business or whatever endeavor that you're trying to do. Second, I would say actually be kind. There are so many
Mm,
people who burn bridges and just do
ooh,
crazy, nefarious things. And that one person that you make burn the bridge or just do something strange to could ultimately be the person who could possibly change your life in the future, in a positive way, of course, right?
yeah.
And then the last thing I would say is awareness, which is part of the 5 A's of joyful ambition that I teach in my community, Pretty Damn Ambitious. But awareness is really more about who you are and who you want to become, right? So you touched a little bit on mindset. So with that, as you're thinking about, okay, yourself 3, 5, 10, 15 years down the road, really think about who you want to become. And if you understand and know yourself, that inner awareness, then that's the way you can start cultivating those goals and dreams and so forth, right? So for instance, must have been back in maybe 2018, I told myself, you know what? I really want to write for a major publication. And then I started putting the different things in place. I actually wrote it on my vision board. I like
Yeah.
did all the different mindset tricks that you do, affirmed it, all of it. Then by the time 2020 hit, we all know what we were doing. Not a whole lot, right? But nevertheless, I was like, I'm not going to let that stop me. So I believe in 2021 was the first time I published for a major publication, and that was an entrepreneur. I think it was like the end of 2021. And then I just took it from there. I was like, I know this is something that I want to do. And not for the sake of, or for vanity's sake. I was aware, again, took that mindset trip, right? Had my awareness and really understood I had something really important from my perspective that I wanted to share. I saw so many women not understanding how amazing and powerful ambition can be, shirking from it, not calling themselves ambitious. And I'm like, how can we not use this powerful tool that everybody else gets to use, but for some
Yeah.
reason we are excluded from it? So from my perspective, I was like, okay, now I am on a mission to help women entrepreneurs redefine ambition. And I wrote about it in Fast Company. And that definition was the joyful, diligent pursuit of success informed by your ideals.
So, first of all, you said a whole lot. That was a masterclass and all. I hope someone clips that and listens to it over and over again, especially if you're new on your journey and wanting to elevate your stature in your industry, because none of it talked about wanting to be popular. All of it started here. It all
Right.
started of understanding and knowing yourself. That's one of the biggest thing I got from what you were saying. It
For
starts
sure.
internally and then it goes into how do you actually show up? Not when it matters, not when there's lights and everything is on you, but behind the scenes. Are you actually delivering the thing that you say you're going to deliver? Because what people don't tell you is when you get more clients, when you get more attention, when you get all, if your stuff behind is jacked up,
Yeah.
it's just going to be a whole lot of jacked up versus I'm hitting jack. So you don't want to put a whole spotlight on a hot mess.
No,
So
not at all.
that's you or your business. So make sure that you're getting your stuff tight. And the other piece that I heard you say is be intentional. If
Very.
your intention for wanting to be seen is to heal broken parts of you, it is never going to actually
Yeah.
be
That'll work.
fruitful over an extended period of time. It might feel good for like 5 seconds, but eventually that's going to catch up with you. And I love that you pointed that out. That was
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I do feel part of what my mission is a little bit of a healing journey, but it's so more beyond that. My mother was an incredible woman. We had a very contentious relationship. Obviously, I left at 13, but she was absolutely brilliant. She grew up in the 50s and was one of the valedictorians of her high school, integrated in the South. She had so much potential and so many things that she could have done with her life. Unfortunately, she ended up with 6 children, not married. And so that ambition was kind of,
Mm,
for lack of a better word, wasted. And unfortunately, she did pass away when I was 27. And so this is kind of a way of honoring my mother and all the women that came before me and all the women that we all know who we've seen their light, but for some reason they're not able to fully live into that dream or their full potential, right? So ambition is just one tool that we can use to really make sure that we bring forth the best parts of ourselves, our potential in every way.
yeah. And here's the thing too, what I think is beautiful about how you approach everything, and I think it's a great lesson for others, is, and we kind of touched on it earlier too, this idea of being in service, right?
Yes,
And being of service to others. And when you view it that way, you kind of forget about well, I don't really want to be on camera. I don't want to be
right.
on stage. And this
Yeah,
makes me nervous. This makes me scared. It's like, I believe so much in this thing. Again, it goes back to like really like know who you are and
yeah,
why you are doing this. Because if
Yes.
you can tap into that deep desire to impact and fill in the blank in whatever way it is for you, then being ambitious,
Yeah.
getting on the stages that you get on, getting in the publications, it's then not about stroking that ego. It's really about, hey, I need for women like your mom
Yeah.
who have so much untapped potential
Yeah.
or have been dying for someone to just tap them on the shoulder was like, you have permission. Go,
Yes.
do the thing. And for them to be like, wait a minute, what? Put on the
Right.
cape and let's go. They're just
Right.
waiting for someone to find them. And what if that person is you and you're sitting over there like, well, I don't know. And no,
Yeah.
right? So I love your mission. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking life, I'm sure, into our audience. And specifically for women, I think that we share a passion of just like encouraging women to be bold, to be themselves, and to literally let the light that's already inside of them shine even brighter. I'm inspired by you. I am excited to see the next heights that you and your businesses end up in. And I'm just going to be cheering you on the side. But before we go, I would love for you to tell our audience like where they can find you if they're wanting to connect.
Well, first, thank you again for having me. And I'm inspired by you too. I have seen you grow just in the 6 months that you and I have connected. So yeah, people can find me on LinkedIn, again, Bianca B. King. They can also find me at prettydamnambitious.com. And I have a couple of gifts for your audience, if that's okay.
Of course.
Awesome. Awesome. So I created an assessment it's basically a gap analysis to help you understand where you are in your business. And we do it across 3 domains that essentially really drive your business, and they're identity, revenue, capacity, and sovereignty. And you essentially will take a quick little assessment, will take less than 10 minutes, and it will give you a score to help you understand which one of those domains that you need to work on. And I know it works because I tested it and did a lot of research around it. And last year, my revenue grew by 39%. So
Nice.
most people had a really hard 2025. And I'm like, this is working. This is doing the heavy lifting. So if you want to take the assessment, it's at prettydamnambitious.com/elevation. And hopefully you can put it in the show notes as well.
Yes, it will be in the show notes.
And then second, I run an annual summit, and I cannot believe it's going to be the 4th one already. So from my company, Pretty Damn Ambitious, I run what's called the Level Up Summit. I run it every year. I've had amazing speakers from Rhonda Ross, yes, Diana Ross's daughter, to the editor-in-chief of Success Magazine as speakers. It's been an absolute pleasure to put this on for women. And so for your listeners, I do have a coupon code on the VIP pass. And that coupon code is Visible 2026. I want to make sure I got it right. Visible 2026 for the VIP only. General pass, it's pretty inexpensive. I think you can handle it if that's the way.
Amazing. And I'm super excited to be associated with this year's.
Yes, you're speaking.
Yeah, I am. So I'm very excited. Well,
Yes.
thank you again so much, Bianca. And I will definitely be looking out for all the things that you have. And again, everyone who's listening in, she is giving you amazing, amazing gifts. Who doesn't like gifts? And they'll be in the show notes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, guys, thanks for spending this time with me. Now it's your turn to put today's strategies to work. Join us inside the Currency of Visibility Collective on School. It's a free community that we've created just for you. Visibility tips, connect with other people, do your homework from the episode. And if anything that we discussed today, something really hit home for you, let us know by engaging. Whether you're on YouTube, listening on Apple or Spotify, or on our website, drop a comment, rate, subscribe, all of the things. The biggest one is share. Share if you care, share with other people. My name is Carolee Moore. This has been the Currency of Visibility podcast, and I will see you next time.